Lance Randall of the men's basketball team. What are some of your goals for this upcoming season?
Well, I'm not really a big, and this may sound shocking, but not a big believer in setting large goals, because I think it's, in some ways, it can be farcical in the sense that, like the process, doing the little things, for instance, to say you're going to be the best defensive team in the conference. Well, how do you get there? Well, you got to practice hard every day. You got to be great off the ball. You got to have a great technique, toughness, the right guys in the court. All those things that happen on a daily basis, like that get to that spot. Like I think that's we talk about embracing the process and being great at the minutia on a daily basis and competing every single day. I think that's one of the first things we do. I would say a goal on a smaller scale would be we want to be the most competitive team in practice every single day, and I think that's one of the ways you get good. We're also going to be, I'm sure, one of the youngest, if not the youngest teams in the conference. So there's a growth level. I mean, certainly there's a level where we have a lot of guys. We lost a lot last year. We have a number of returners, some of them that didn't play because they were redshirting or had different roles. But regardless, almost every single player has a new role. And that's very common in a team, but especially in one that has going through a youth movement, so to speak. And so how they grow into those roles, how quickly they're able to assimilate to the level on both sides of the ball that we need them to be, that's going to be, it's going to result in successes, in the win-loss column eventually, but certainly in the competitive column from the get-go.
Coach, you noted that you have a very young team. And you talked about the roles that each player is going to have. What can we expect to see, and what do you expect from your returning players?
Well, I think the first and foremost is establishing your culture, the culture of your program, your expectations, and whether it's for us is being not just on time but being early for things. So again, going back to kind of that goal question, some of the little stuff that we believe is not separate from winning, like some of the non-basketball stuff that you have to do and do exceptionally well and do it consistently and do it over the course of the entire depth of a basketball season, which basketball is a long sport. It is a long sport, and there's so much of the great teams or the great players, the guys who have excellent careers and are part of really impacting winning at both a conference, a regional, and national level, are the guys who are built for the marathon, so to speak, are really built to get through every round and not just have that flash every day. So again, that goes back to our level of expectations of the little things, and again, of competing every day in practice. But certainly we're going to rely on those guys to be vocal leaders by example, and then just we're going to need some scoring from Brad and LJ in particular. I think those guys have shown that they can score the ball in this league, definitely, and then a variety of other guys in different roles, and we'll continue to nurture them as the season goes on.
So on the flip side, about half the team is either incoming freshmen or returners. What can we expect to see with them meshing with the returners?
Well, I mean, I would actually put, in many ways, even though Chandler was a starter for the full length of the season, he was a defensive player for us last year. I see him making a huge jump offensively. I think he's put a lot of work in and done a very good job. Adam and Brennan were guys that did not play last year because they redshirted. So, they're really newcomers in that sense. So even you add our newcomers in that we actually brought in, they're stepping on campus for the first time, consistently this fall and getting into our practices. A lot of these guys, game-wise, either are playing their first live competition here in a Lindenwood uniform, or playing such a uniquely different role that in many ways it is like a new guy. So I think for us, you have to have, at this level, you have to have three established scorers, three guys who consistently get you the ball and get you to put the ball in the basket in some regard. Now, you're not going to see as many 20 points a game guys in a league like this. You'll have some elite, guys like Corey was last year, an elite offensive guy who you're feeding the ball to, running stuff for. But over the most part, you want guys who can get you double figures and be a low-volume scorer, not take that many shots. So that's part of it. And then you got to be able to rebound and protect the basket with whatever lineups you put out there. So finding those lineups with the new guys mixed in with our returning that can consistently get stops, turn teams over, protect the rim, get the rebound, and be done with it. And then also have multiple layers offensively, guys who can score in different ways and guys who can get you a basket at the end of a clock and create one at the beginning of a clock. You know, that's what you're looking for to develop, I think.
Coach, you began the regular season against 2 in-region opponents up in Wisconsin Dells. Is that a different approach to starting the season like that, and how do you expect the year to start against that type of competition?
Well, the NCAA allows Division II on the first week and opening weekend of the year to play an in-region crossover exempt classic. So you take 2 teams from your league and you play against 2 teams in either the Northern Sun, or you're going to go down to the Arkansas, Oklahomas and play them down there. So you have an option of rotating basically once every 4 years at your place, or you can find a neutral site and that's advantageous for all parties involved. So we're going obviously up to Central Missouri. Important games, and it seems very early in the year to value that as an important game, but very different than NCAA Division I. NCAA Division II overvalues the regional aspect of it. So you have to play region games. You have to play, quality of opponent is really important. Where you play them, home versus neutral, which is considered a road game. Those are important. And it does not matter early in the season, late in the season. Like for Division I, they put a much higher value on the last 10 games of the year, whether a guy was injured, whether a player was back, whether a coach was out, whatever the situation is. Division II doesn't look at that nearly as with the objectivity that Division I does on their criteria. So right off the get-go, you're going to play 2 really important games that's going to affect your columns and opportunities for any team within your region to get in the NCAA tournament.
So last season, you led the team to its first conference tournament win. How do you build off last year's and momentum coming into this year?
Well, I think every team is different, and every season is different. But I do believe that this team and the program as we're building it going forward is built for longevity. So certainly we want to build on the successes, but it's going to be very different. And we're going to play a different way because we've recruited different types of players. And we'll continue to do that to fit in with what we think is the best chances that behooves us for success. But I think the one thing that will remain steadfast from last year to this, when you bring it up, put it in that context, is that we led our league in defensive field goal percentage. We led our league in 3-point defensive field goal percentage, scoring defense. I would think that we're going to be, that will be the measure of who we are in many ways, is getting stops. Hopefully creating more turnovers. I didn't think we did a great job of that last year in the half court, creating turnovers for baskets. You have to find ways to get easy baskets. So you have to stand for something. Certainly we've been very good defensively in the half court. And then, I think that unselfishness, just your ability to compete every single night when guys care more about winning than themselves, that's will be the cornerstone of who we are, and that's what we'll build upon from that group last year.
All right, well, thanks, Coach, and good luck this year.
All right, thank you.